way probate works is somebody dies, they don't have a will. The next of kin or the person closest to them can then go to court and they can petition the judge to give them the rights. They would be called an administrator of an estate, or they would be called an executor of the estate. Then they have the right to determine what's going to happen with all of the assets that were left behind by that person. All right, so let's do my entire screen. And now you're looking at Privvy. Okay, so for today, we are going to cover how to go after on-market wholesale opportunities using Privvy. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I just chose Phoenix as our first market. All right. And before I even start diving in, a couple things. All right. Now, I think we talked about this, but I'm not sure about going into certain markets where there are other people who are already competing.
No.
Did I talk to you guys about that the first time we met?
Yes, you did.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm not gonna repeat myself, but bottom line is that there's more than enough opportunity in all of these cities. So let's take a look at it. And once you log into Privvy, it starts out with your list, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to. Now, did you already sign up for Privvy?
Yes, it was signed up yesterday.
Okay, cool. So then you go to, let's just go in here in this search, and then you type in Phoenix, and then you're going to see this, all right? Then we're going to zoom down here, and we're going to go into these markets. We'll just start with this one. And it's going to show you 21 properties. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and see if I can just pencil these off. And we'll just focus on this okay, great. Focus on this just for now. All right. So now we're going to see all these properties that are for sale, and then we want to sort the results by days on the market, and we want the oldest ones first, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to take a look at these properties, and we're going to see if any of them might be an opportunity for us. This particular property looks like it was partially rehabbed, but it looks like they left the this is interesting. So I can't tell if it's new carpet or not. But what you want to do is you just go back and you click on previous sale, and then you'll be able to see when it was purchased. So no, it wasn't a flip. It was purchased back in 2003. All right. So they purchased it back in 2003, and now they're putting it back up for sale. And now what you want to do is you might want to just check the comparables just to take a look at them. Now, when you click on comparables, you really only need to know the sold ones. And then I want you to sort it by when it was last sold. And you really, remember I told you what you want is 14 days back. This is about almost 2 months back now. And so it's probably the only comp that you're going to have, but this one sold for $315. So let's take a look at this one. Why is it not opening? That's weird. Okay. And this was built in 89. Our comp was built in 97. Why is this thing not opening? Oh, you got to click the little info icon. All right, so here is the property. And it looks like it's in pretty similar condition. Right? So knowing what we know, this looks like it's, average condition, just like the other one was. And this one sold for $315. 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. Ours is a 4-bed, 2-bath, 1,683 square feet. Now, remember what I said, you can go 20% up and you can go 20% down, which means that we can go to 1,200 square feet or we can go to 1,900 square feet. So this is actually a pretty good comp. Now, how would I adjust this though? And why would I adjust this price of $315?
Okay. You said, how would you adjust this? So The other one was 3. Wait, let me see. Try this kind of hard for this week. So the other one was that was 3. It was 399, right?
They're asking 399. That's what they're asking for, but it's not. There's a reason it hasn't sold, and
Okay.
I think I know why. Okay, so right off the bat, you've got 2 beds and 2 baths, and this is a 4 bed and 2 bath, right? So right off the bat, you know that this has fewer baths. So to compensate for that, I have to increase this price. Remember, I told you that for bedrooms, it's
Yeah.
about $15,000 per bedroom. So that means that I got to add this up to about 30,000 more. So it comes out to about 345. So if I'm comparing apples to apples, because this one has fewer bedrooms, that means that the value would actually be about 345 if it would have had those extra bedrooms. Yeah. So this is now listed at 399, and before that it was listed for 4 something, for whatever, 410. It was listed for 410. So really what this property would be worth is probably around 345, so it's about $50,000 overpriced. And that's part of the reason why it hasn't sold. Oh, and then another reason it hasn't sold is because it says no showings until 1/7/23 due to remodel. Right. So that's another reason it hasn't sold. So it looks to me like what they're trying to do is they're trying to rehab this, and I guess they haven't shown it to anybody. So this might not necessarily be a good example to use, only because number one, it's been sitting. I don't know why they would have it put it on the market so 6 months ago if it wasn't completely rehab. Let's look at another one. So here's another one, 177 days ago. Now, these to me look like homes that would have an HOA. I'm not sure. I don't see any HOA on there, but okay. So this is another home, and I think this is virtually staged, right? This furniture is not really, it's not there. It's computer generated. All right. So this one is a 4 bed, 2 bath, 1,800 square feet. And if we check the comparables, we're probably going to see the exact same thing, I think. See, somehow these homes are selling. Where's our house? Our house is 389, and this one right next door sold for 441, which is crazy. Why did that sell? But that was back in May. See, here's another one for 411. Let's take a look at this one. Why did this one sell for 411 and all the other ones haven't sold yet? This is weird to me. I guess it's just cleaner. So I guess the reason that they're holding on to their 389 price is because this home sold. It's a little bit bigger though. It's 1,800, and this one sold for 411, and this particular house has it for 389. All right, so not to waste anybody's time, a lot of these houses are a little too fixed up for us to really do anything in terms of wholesale opportunities. Just so you guys know. These are opportunities that you might be able to pitch creative terms to them. If we looked at the last time they purchased it in 4/25/17. So they've owned it for about 5 years. And then when they purchased it for $180,000 that's what they purchased it for, and now they're selling it for $300,000. So they have about $200,000 in equity that they're trying to capitalize on. So if this date was more recent, like if they purchased it in 2019 or 2020, I think there would be an opportunity there for us to convert it to a creative. But because they have $200,000 worth of equity, I'm not sure if this is necessarily even going to work as a creative deal either, to be very honest with you. But that's not what we're looking for. Right now, we're looking for wholesale deals. So my message to you is these properties are probably a little too nice to do anything with. And they've been owned for a while, so they have equity. And I'm not sure if they're going to be willing to trade their equity for speed and convenience. Let's see this one. When did they purchase this last one? They purchased it. Oh, look at this. They purchased it in June. So this is a flip. June of 2022. What did they purchase it for? Where's the price? I'm hearing a lot of silence, you guys. You guys with me? You guys okay? All right. Okay. So this is a flip. Doesn't show me what they bought it for. But anyway, this is probably not going to be our opportunity anyway, because we should have got it before the flip. 421. Again, these are all newer homes. Maybe let's take a look at this one. This one looks a little banged up. Still built in 87, so it's not too bad. Yeah, this might be a good flip opportunity. All right, so we've been seeing the other homes that are in, cleaner condition. Not that this one's bad, but just in, in 2022 or 2020 standards, they've been going for about 400. So the reason that this one hasn't sold is because, it's just, it looks a little dated. So now the question is, when did they last sell? They purchased it in 11, and now they're trying to sell 12 years later. So they have quite a bit of equity too. And again, that's what you have to ask yourself. Are they going to be willing to sacrifice their equity, for a creative deal or for a wholesale deal? And I don't see it. This doesn't look like an opportunity for me. But again, if they had purchased it in 2019, then there might be something that I might be able to play with. Does that make sense, you guys? Like, I'm teaching you how to identify these things. And I don't see it as that beat up for them to give me the price that I would probably want. So let's move.
That reason is because basically if they purchased a house like 2012, or they have so much equity, they don't want to, most likely they're not trying to get rid of the equity, correct?
Exactly. And because they have an agent that's helping them, it's the agent's job to try to preserve as much of their equity as possible.
Okay.
Right? So I want to see something that was just purchased, and you can filter that. Look, you can create a filter. So what we can do is we can say, let's see, you can try to, where is the date timelines? Past 24 months. So we can try to see which ones have sold in the last 24 months, and see if that changes the way this search looks. So let's see. When was this one last sold? Look at that. It was last sold in November of 21. And what did it sell for? Before and after, comparables, details, public records. Mortgage history, property history. Okay. So they listed it in 2021 of September. Then they sold it in 2021, a warranty deed for 420. And now they're trying to sell it a month later for 600. So this was a wholesale deal. Something's going on here. You guys, are you seeing that? Or a novation? Something happened because they bought it for 420, then they sold it as a warranty deed. Yeah, it's a different person, buyers, and then now it's active.
What is the warranty?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. That part I'm not sure. And then they have a FHA loan. So basically what this person did, it looks like they may have, if they got a warranty deed, they may have done a, like a wrap, right? Because look, they have a, there's a mortgage and FHA loan. So this is a good one. This is something that I'm trying to show you. They bought this in 2017. And they have an FHA loan. This is the type of property that I would have loved to have taken over creatively, which is what they did. Because they ended up purchasing it for 420 as an FHA loan. Okay. So they purchased it from this party, whomever it was. Jennifer sold it to. Jennifer sold it to no. This family sold it to Jennifer for $420. That's what they sold it to them for. After 2 months, is in the form of a warranty deed. So either they carried, or they did an ovation or something, because all they owed on the property was the two. Where's the mortgage history? The 253 for the loan. So they said something along the lines of, "We'll give you." Well, they did something creative, right? Because they only had a loan of 253, and yet they sold it for 420 in the form of a warranty deed. Something happened here, and now Jennifer is trying to sell it for 600,000. So anyway, this one's a little sticky. I'm not gonna mess with that one. Let's take a look. Let's look at this one. These are a lot of. Look at this. This is actually a pretty good opportunity for a fix and flip.
I saw that.
You saw this one?
Yeah, I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah. So this one would be one that I would call the agent on.
Okay.
Now, again, check the previous sale. Previous sale was in 11. So that means they have equity, right? It looks like they got it for 78,000, and now they're trying to sell it for 360. So they do have equity on it. Now, what are the pain points? We won't know, not until you call the agent. So, I mean, you can call the agent and see what the agent says. Who's the agent on this? MLS details, listing office phone. Now, for some reason, Privvy doesn't always have the actual agent info. So what I do is I just do a right click, something like this, and then I go search, and then I look for it on Zillow. And then I try to see who the agent is. So the agent is Lynn Hall. All right, let's see if Lynn answers. Let's give it a try, yeah?
Let's do it.
Good afternoon, Coldwell Banker Realty. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm looking for Lynn Hall, please. This is a broker call calling on 113th.
Okay, Lynn Hall, just one moment.
Is she in the office, or do you have her mobile number by chance?
Okay, I can give that to you just a second.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Phone number 602
Mm-hmm.
739
Mm-hmm.
3569.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so anytime you call an office, just tell them it's a broker call. That's basically you saying, "Hey, I'm inquiring about a property. Give me their mobile." It's you saying, "I'm in the business. Just give me her mobile." All right. Let's see if she answers. $49 HOA fee.
Hi, this is Lynn Hall with Coldwell Banker Realty. Please leave your name.
Okay. Anyway, we'll try later. The hard part is getting a hold of these agents. So I would text Lynn, "Hey, calling on this drive. I'm an interested party. Just wanted to see if it's still available," and then wait and see if he texts you back. All right, 194 days. When was this purchased? Last sold, look at that, June of 2022. No way. They just reduced it. Okay. Did you see this one? I didn't lose you guys, did I? Okay. All right. So this one they're asking 396. Oh. All right. So anytime you see open door brokerage, do you guys know what that is?
No.
Okay, so open door, it was a I guess you could say it's a publicly traded company that was flipping houses, like a fund, like a hedge fund. And they were buying a bunch of properties up, and then they were they were overpaying them. They did the same thing that Zillow did. They were buying them too high, and then they were just painting them, putting carpet, and then putting them back on the market and flipping them. But it looks like they bought this last June, and I want to see what they bought it for. It looks like they had this originally for 475, and then they've been trying to sell it for okay, so they bought it in June for 475. Yikes. And now they're trying to sell it for 396. So this is a publicly traded company. A company that is supposed to be producing profits for its shareholders, and they are selling real estate at a loss. This is more than a 20% loss on this home. You guys seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just sharing that with you because typically Open Door, again, because they are a publicly traded company, they're not going to give you any real leeway. I mean, they'll keep reducing it until it sells, but they're not going to give you some type of a deep discount. Got it?
Okay.
All right. Let's see this one. Isn't this the one we just looked at?
Yeah, it's the same one.
All right. All right. 398. A lot of these are just too nice, guys. They're just a little too nice. Something about this neighborhood, huh? Let's sort it. Let's just sort it by price then, and we'll start by the lowest to highest. So highest to lowest. Okay, let's start with the lowest. So the lowest price that we can get in this neighborhood is this one, Glen Rosa, 284. All right. So this looks like they put new carpet. Looks like they were trying to flip it. No backyard. Yeah. Man. And guess who bought it?
Oh yeah.
Open door.
Let's see. What did they pay for it? They bought it for 311, and now they're selling it for 284. Wow. But they bought this in October of 2022. Why would they buy? I don't understand. It's really weird. It's really, really weird that they would buy. Like, wow. I don't know what's going on. Okay, whatever. This might not be the right neighborhood for us, because a lot of these homes are pretty nice. So Open Door again. They bought it for 307, and now they're trying to sell it for 332. I mean, I am amazed. So maybe this isn't a good neighborhood for us. 284. Did we see that one? Yeah, that was that one. All right. Sorry, I know that this is just mainly boring stuff.
No, this is cool.
This is good.
Okay, let's check this pocket. Let's draw this. Let's see what we get here. Sort by price. Okay. See, this is built in 2007. Again, Open Door. Wow, man, what the hell is happening with them? It's like they just went gangbusters in this neighborhood.
They bought up everything.
Yeah, but I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand. It's not like they have cash. I mean, they're public, but like, I mean, they have just money to burn, money to waste. All right, so this is like a clean home. It's not too great. Yeah, I'm thinking that just this part of Phoenix may not be the part we want houses that are pretty beat up. That's really what we want, or houses that have been sitting on the market a long time. These have been sitting on the market a long time, but I think they've been sitting on the market a long time just because they're overpriced.
Can we check LA?
Yeah, let's do it. Now, part of the reason I gave you that spreadsheet is because you see how, okay, so we've been doing this for how long? How many minutes now?
Like almost 30.
Yeah. Okay, that's a long time. All right. So I gave you guys a spreadsheet. Let me just show you why I use it. Way faster. And I like Privvy, but it's just way faster. So if I go to California using my spreadsheet, I look up cash, I copy the cell, I paste the cell. Boom. I've got all 55 listings in California right now that qualify as all cash deals. Then I zoom in, I zoom into LA. And right now, here's what I got. So I can remove the boundary, then I can draw my own boundary. And now I've got everything that I need. 10 listings. I sort newest to oldest. I go to oldest. And then I take a look at this one. Boom. That took me 3 minutes. And I got myself a cash opportunity now. Oh, this is probate though. All right. I wouldn't mess with probates. Only because, well, you can. Probates are good. You just have to call the agent though.
Right.
Okay, let me see if we can get hold of him. Hold on. Let's see if Rashid can give me some insight.
We close to California before the market shifted, so we still buy them, but we're actually on the more
Okay.
about opportunities. We still buy, and for the ones that we don't, we sell them back. For our company, minimum 2,000, you can negotiate more since we're the
No.
Hey, Rashid. Good afternoon. My name's Paul Argueta. I'm calling about your listing on 94th Place. Is that still available?
No, it is no longer available. We are getting ready to go to escrow today.
Oh, congratulations. Okay,
Thank you.
cool.
Thank
Did you guys was court confirmation required on this one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I see. Okay. And you guys already were there any overbids, or did the original offer that got accepted, that one win?
Well, no, there were no overbids. We're waiting to get petition court confirmation, and then move forward. So we won't know about any overbids or anything like that until we get the court confirmation.
Oh, okay. So the executor have they been, so they don't have full authority yet? Is that what I'm understanding?
No. So with probate, there's limited and full. I mean, as you know, but you're only granted one or the other.
Right.
So she has limited authority, and so
Oh.
that's why we have to petition for the court confirmation.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well then what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on it, and when do you guys go back to court? Do you know?
We don't know just as of yet.
Okay, I'll give you a call maybe in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And see if we pop in during the opportunity to submit any other overbids then.
Absolutely.
All right, I appreciate it. Bye-bye. All right, so here's how probate works, or do you guys already know?
I have an idea. It's more like they inherited the property. It's something I know they like inherited the property. And they can't really they don't have full I know they inherited the property or something like that, and they have to go through court basically to kind of get rid of the property or some just like that.
You're really close. You're really close. Okay, so you've got it right with some minor adjustments. So The way probate works is somebody dies, they don't have a will. The next of kin or the person closest to them can then go to court and they can petition the judge to give them the rights. They would be called an administrator of an estate, or they would be called an executor of the estate. Then they have the right to determine what's going to happen with all of the assets that were left behind by that person. In some cases, the court grants that person, like you said, full authority or partial authority. It just depends on what the judge sees fit. So if somebody goes, let's say, for instance, I mean, it's crazy what happens in probate, because you could have a situation where you have someone who is not a family member, who is not a child, but they could have been the closest confidant that that person had, and they can plead their case to the court as to why, and they can show all the reasons why I should have full authority to handle this person's estates, as opposed to their child who, I'm just going to use an example, as a child who may be a drug abuser, if that makes sense. So this person had partial authority. So what they have to do is they have to get an offer accepted, and then they have to present it to the judge, and the judge is going to determine whether or not that offer is acceptable or not. If someone wants, on the day of that court date, someone can show up and they can actually offer more than the offer they have. That's why I kept saying overbids. All right. So in this market, I don't know if it's depending on what price they got it for, it may or may not be worth going and compete against other people, like auction style. That's what happens. So, we can call him back in 3 or 4 weeks and find out when the court date is. All right.
That spreadsheet that you use, that's the same spreadsheet that you had sent me and Lizel.
Yep. Here's this one on Griffin. I think I spoke to this agent. Yeah, and he wasn't too cool.
Can you do an example on pre-foreclosures, how you would use that script using the spreadsheet?
Okay, so pre-foreclosures is a little different, right? Because are we talking like short sales?
Yeah.
Okay, so a pre-foreclosure doesn't necessarily mean it's a short sale, though. Somebody could be in foreclosure, right? Let's say they bought it again in 2011.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, 6 months ago, they decided, I'm just not going to make any more payments. I just can't. I'm not going to make any more payments. Well, they still have equity, though, right? Because if they bought it in 2011, that means they have maybe $100,000 to $200,000 in equity. So they may be in foreclosure just because they stopped making their payments, but that doesn't mean it's a short sale. A short sale is when here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. A short sale is when someone has to get the bank's approval to sell for less than what they owe on it. So if I owe $400,000 on a property, and nobody's willing to make me offers of $400,000 or more because my property is whatever, maybe it's a real big fixer, and all I get are offers of $275, but I owe $400. I have to present those offers to the bank, and the bank has to approve them writing off that balance of $125. You guys with me? That's a short sale. That's when I'm short.
Okay.
All right. So a short sale and a foreclosure sale, those are two different things. Can it be a short sale while someone's in foreclosure? Yeah. Yes. Can it be a foreclosure and yeah, it can be both at the same time, but it can also be individually. It can also be separate.
So,
and when I'm approaching someone for foreclosure, like if they're in pre-foreclosure, I just want you guys to know, people don't want to leave their house when they're in pre-foreclosure. Like they don't want to. So when you approach them from the perspective of, hey, sell me your house real fast, it's probably not going to work right off the bat. And that's what most investors try to do in the beginning. They're just like, hey, sell me your house for cash. You're losing it. Like people don't want to hear that. So the best way to approach a pre-foreclosure, my experience has been, is when you tell them, hey, John or Jane, and I think I sent you that script, John or Jane, I just noticed that your property showed up on Zillow as one of the properties that's in pre-foreclosure. I'm sure it's a mistake. These things happen. I just wanted to see, do you know how to get it off that list, or do you know what all the options are made available to you? Something along those lines, okay? That's a very soft approach, and you're not people when they're in foreclosure, they're embarrassed, right? Everyone's embarrassed. So they don't want to hear like, sell me your property. So if you come from a place of like, I can help you, right? It showed up on Zillow as a pre-foreclosure. I'm sure it's a mistake. Do you know how to get it off that list? Do you know what to do next? And you'd be surprised how people will open up to you. They'll be like, yeah, this happened or that happened or whatever. I'm trying to get a loan mod. We just had a conversation today with someone, and they were like, yeah, we just did a loan mod 2 months ago, and we got rejected for it. Right. So then what you're going to do is you're going to help them, and you're going to walk them through the process. So our conversation with that person was, well, look, did you hire someone to help you fill out the loan modification paperwork and the application? And they're like, no, we did it ourselves. Well, look, I don't know if you know it or not, but you can actually try again, and I can help you fill out that loan modification paperwork, and we won't charge you a penny. If there's other people that want to charge you to do this, you're more than welcome to use them. I don't recommend it, but we can help you do this, and we can submit it again, and I can review the paperwork for you, and we can see if we can get you approved. Now, what's the possible scenario? Best case scenario, I get their loan mod approved, and I'm a hero to them. That's the best case scenario. And maybe they'll refer me some business, right? Worst case scenario is their loan modification gets rejected. And if they don't get their loan modification rejected, what happens next?
They're out. They still lose the house, correct?
Yeah, they could. I mean, they can continue to try fighting it. It gets really expensive fighting it over, hiring an attorney, paying for bankruptcy, there's all these other band-aids that you could put, but eventually people get tired of it. Nobody wants to live in fear that the sheriff is going to come kick them out of the house, right? So what happens is you tried to help them. And so now they see you more as an ally versus someone that's just trying to take advantage of them. So when that happens, if they do get rejected again, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to call the person that was helping them with the loan modification application. That's why when you come from the approach of let me help you first, let's try it first, versus, hey, sell me your house for cash. That works. That's a softer approach, but it's a long-term play. It's not something that's going to happen like in 30 days. That's like 6 months, 9 months down the road thing, depending on what happens.
Is a loan modification to lower their interest rate, or
yeah? So a loan modification is basically an application for them to modify their loan, to try to get them. They could give them a temporary lower interest, or they can extend their loans. Now that's what they're doing too. They're extending loans to like 50 years. They could do that too. Or they could take whatever they're behind and then they throw it on the back of the loan. They could do that too. I mean, banks can get creative too. They can find different ways to adjust it. So it just depends what they want to do with that person. But my point is, if you're approaching someone, now I've heard stories and you've heard stories and we've seen the videos, people post them all the time where like I went and I talked to someone who was going to go to foreclosure tomorrow and they sold me the home right away. Like, do freak things like that happen? Yes. Okay. But again, if you, our experience has been that if you try to push for a quick, like, hey, sell me your property, they get hit with that all the time and it's not going to work.
Okay.
Now, if they come to you and they're like, dude, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. You want to sell, you want to buy the house? Go ahead. Here, make me an offer. That's different. That's them basically saying, hey, we want, like, just, I'll sell it to you. But again, if you approach all of them, like trying to cram an offer down their throat, it's going to be hard.
Okay. So I have a question for you, Paul. So just let's just say in the scenario where you find a good pre-foreclosure, possibly subject to, right? So if I'm not mistaken, if let's just say the house is $300,000, they have the equity that they have into the house, let's say it's 60,000, but it's negative 60,000, correct? Since it's a pre-foreclosures, it's negative equity in the house?
Not necessarily, right?
So,
Remember what we said earlier. If somebody bought it in 2011 and it's now worth $400,000, but they bought it for $200,000, they've got $200,000 in equity.
okay.
But let's just say that 4 months ago they decided, hey, I don't want to pay my bill anymore, and they're 6 months or 4 months or 6 months behind. They're 6 months behind, but they still got all that equity.
Okay.
Right? Them not making their mortgage payment over the last 6 months does not take away from the fact that they still have equity.
Okay. Okay.
It's there. Now the question is, what are they going to do? Are they going to sell it so that they can preserve their equity, or are they going to try to play games and try to play the peanut in the shell where they just keep moving things around to try to like not make payments? What are they going to do?
Okay. So what, like, if you were like me or Lizel, like, knew, not really, like, not too familiar with the, like, we kind of like, I feel like a little bit more get the gist of the subject to thing. So how would you go about obtaining somebody's property through subject to with basically no money? Like, and like, how would you utilize that property basically? And,
Okay.
but worst comes to worst, what would be your exit strategy for that property also?
So think of subject to as just another tool on your belt, right?
Okay.
Just like wholesaling is another tool on your belt. Some people aren't going to go for the subject to, even though as plain as day, it makes sense for them and they
Yes.
would benefit more from it. They still won't do it. They just won't. Okay. And then you've got people who should be taking an all cash offer, and they won't take an all cash offer, but they'll take the subject to, just because they're so fixated on the final dollar amount that they want to get in their heads. It's not about how much money right now. It's about what they sell it for. Like, that's my price. Give me my price and we can do whatever you want. There are some people that way. So the point that I'm trying to make is that you just have to get good at presenting both options to people and then letting them decide which one is a better one for them. You can't convince them. So you're not going to be able to convince someone who has a specific number in their head, they're fixated on this number, to take your all cash offer just because that's what you think they should take. So what you want to do is you want to present both opportunities. You want to tell them, look, if we go all cash, I can get you all cash. But if I go all cash, I'm probably going to give you a lot less than what you're really looking for. And that's because I'm using my resources. If I pay all cash, that means I have to take away resources from my bank account that I could be using to be purchasing other properties for. And there's a cost for that. So I'm only going to be able to offer you X amount of dollars. But if you work with me and you get a little creative with me, then maybe I can get you your price. But just work with me on terms, and then you switch it. So it depends. And then there's times where I offer people terms and they're like, no, I need my cash now. I need money now. Make me an all cash offer. And then we'll convert it to an all cash offer.
What would those terms be that you would normally offer a person?
It depends, because it depends on every situation is different, right? What are the terms that they really, what do they want? Some people, for whatever reason, they like,
One of your subject to deals that you closed, what was like the terms that you possibly like presented, or
okay,
like?
well, normally I don't present the terms until they start telling you what it is that they want.
Okay.
Right? Because I might be giving away the house. So I wait and see, well, what is it that you'd be looking for, right? What kind of a down payment would make sense for you? And what kind of a down payment would make sense for me? What are you looking for? And then you wait and see what they say. Now you're going to get some people that are going to be like, well, I'll give, I need $100,000 down. That's not going to work. It doesn't matter what deal it is. It's not going to work. And that's where I'll tell them, look, I'd love to give you $100,000 down. Right. But the truth is, for me to put $100,000 down doesn't make sense when I can go get better terms at the bank. Right. So if I'm going to give you your price, then give me a better down payment. And then I try to sell them on a down payment,
Okay.
It just depends. Every situation is different, but you got to wait and see what they say. And then remember, I think I did it with you guys last week. You got to work backwards if you're doing creative. You start with a rental amount. What will this property rent for, or what will it Airbnb for? You use those numbers, and then you slowly start to chip away at it with all the expenses, and then you know what you can pay the owner.
Okay. And for Airbnb, if I'm not mistaken, do you use to like get like the price point? Do you use AirDNA?
You could. AirDNA can get expensive though if you're not buying, or because they don't sell. It's not like a flat rate subscription, or maybe it is. I don't know. My experience has been, it's like you have to buy one area and then you buy another area and then you buy another area, and they charge you per areas. And so to be able to do it nationwide, I think there is an option, but it's really, really expensive.
Do you use something right now currently to like?
I use AirDNA. I do use AirDNA. I also just go into Airbnb and just check what other people are renting them out for. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to see if I had one more question. With also, so like for the subject to thing. So normally when you're taking over somebody's so you're taking over somebody's payments, right? With subject to. So normally in your experience, what you have done, you have given they agreed to the terms or whatever the case is. You normally have given them a down payment. Has there ever been a subject to deal that you've walked out with no money down or like no money out of pocket or
Hello? Is this too
They
like
all want some type of a down payment.
okay.
They all want something. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last one where I was able to do it with. I mean, when we say zero money down, we're not necessarily talking about a seller saying, "Here, just take the house." What we're
Yeah.
talking about is an investor actually partnering up and then putting the money down and then working together that way. Most sellers aren't going to let you get in just with zero money down. I mean, they might, but it's a rare occurrence. Every seller is going to want some type of a down payment. I mean, you can't even rent a house without a deposit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or an apartment. So I don't know too many sellers that would be willing to let's just give you the property.
Understandable.
Yeah. So no money down typically just means that what you have is you have other investors that are investing the money into your project with you for an exchange of either the equity or of the you're going to pay them interest and you're going to pay them something else, or you're going to give them a part of the profits.
Okay. So you would pay them the equity that they have into the house, basically. Right.
It's totally negotiable.
Totally
It
negotiable.
depends on the investor.
Okay.
Some investors are going to be like, nope, this is what I want. I want X percentage on my return on my money.
Okay.
I'll give you the down payment, but this is what you got to give me.
Okay. And also with doing the subject to, do you pay? So you're already assuming their debt. You're taking over their debt, right? So let's say their house note is $3,000 a month, but since they haven't paid in 6 months, do you pay what they missed those last 6 months as well?
Yeah, you're going to have to bring it current.
Okay.
Because then you run into the possibility of there being. That's why some of these foreclosure properties, you can't use creative. You're not going to be able to, because they have dug themselves in such a deep hole that financially it wouldn't make sense for an investor to come in and like pay to get them out of that hole just to be able to get creative terms.
Okay.
It would be, in some cases, it's really crazy numbers. So you have to ask them, how much are we behind? What are the legal fees? What are the penalties? What's it really going to cost to get this current? Some of them will know, some of them won't know.
I didn't even think about that right there. That's why I wanted to ask you that, because I knew like you had to like pay up. So last question. With that being said, when you have to pay to get them current, what is a strategy that you use? Do you use private money, hard money? Like how? Or do you just have your own capital?
Well, it really just depends. It depends on how much it is to bring it current, right? If it exceeds that 5% rule, then it's not a deal that I would probably want to do.
Okay. And that would be 5%
Of the purchase price as a down payment.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Unless it's like a diamond in the rough where really it's at one of these properties that cash flows, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's multifamily or something that really, really, really makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need. Look, sometimes you can do a 10% or a 20% down payment. Sometimes you can, if you get investors on board, but it has to cash flow, or there has to be a huge upside. If we're talking the properties that are, really low in rents, or the vacancies are really, really high, and then I can go in there and improve. If there's a lot of room for improvements, maybe we'd be willing to pay more for the down payment.
Okay. And it should not exceed over 5% of the purchase price of what they owe.
Typically, no, not what they owe. Whatever the purchase price is.
Okay.
5% of the purchase price, typically. But again, this isn't it's not a perfect formula, right? Because every situation is different. And so what if the property really could cash flow a lot more? well, then you would take that into consideration. Like, hey, this thing could actually make us a lot more money. But then you have to ask yourself, well, how much is it going to cost to fix it? And is that going to weigh into my cost to fix it versus my cost of a down payment?
Okay. The last question, Paul. Just with like somebody with me and Lizel, would you say that it would probably be best for us or as like wholesaling at this very moment, just wholesaling and scaling up from there? Because I feel like, you know, I don't we don't really have experience with like fixing flip. We don't have experience with like subject to property. That type of stuff that you learn. So I'm sure that's
Let's say you're definitely comfortable.
start off like you said you started off as a broker and then you got into like wholesaling and everything like that. So is that like would that be like something that you would say for us? Like we start off with just wholesaling, just focus on wholesaling and scale up from there?
So I think wholesaling is a really good way to build capital. I think you shouldn't try to put yourself in that box though. Okay. Because again, while you're wholesaling, you're going to get opportunities that you're going to look at and you're going to be like, this isn't going to work as a wholesale deal, but I could then convert it to a creative finance deal. And then you can actually wholesale a creative finance deal, or you could pick up the property. So I guess my message to you is, I know that inherently we want to like just be laser focused, and I think you should be laser focused, and I think you should try to go after those wholesale deals. But all I'm saying is have those other two in your arsenal so that at any given moment you can just flip it and you can say, okay, this one won't work as a wholesale deal, but let's try it as a creative, and then offer them those creative terms.
Okay.
But yes, wholesaling is a great way to get in, right? And by default, those other opportunities will present themselves. They always do. They always do when you're trying to get the wholesale deals. Trust me.
Okay.
Right? Versus, and listen, even if I was to tell you, try doing creative all day long too. It's the same thing. If you just keep talking to people, that's the reality. Whether it be wholesaling or creative or whatever, you just keep talking to enough people. What will happen is you'll find the opportunities, and then you're just gonna have to get good at like saying, okay, what is the best way to convert this, or to convert this into an opportunity? How do I convert this into an opportunity?
Okay. I like that.
All right.
Thank you, man. That's all my
Cool. Okay, so I have to get going. This Thursday, you guys, don't forget. Okay, I'll send you the address. We're gonna be here, and then we're gonna cover wholesaling stuff. So I'm gonna try to the year's already gonna be calendared. We're working on that today. So we're gonna try to start like wholesaling, then creative, and then we're just gonna keep like the whole year is gonna be a one whole massive like course on all of this stuff that we're gonna be touching on.
sure,
Okay.
man. See you Thursday.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you, and thank you for those reviews.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys.